Hello, the topic for this video is compound events. When you're working with probability, having compound events means two things that have to happen together, two separate probabilities. So we're going to multiply each probability together to find the final answer. The important things to note: if you choose an item and replace it, put it back, then you have the same number of things you're picking from, so the denominator stays the same in the second fraction. If you choose an item and do not put it back, now you have one fewer item in the bag, so your denominator needs to go down by 1 in the second fraction. When you're working with a deck of cards, be very careful with the wording of the question. Here we have 2 cards are pulled from a standard deck of cards without replacing. That is the key that lets you know your denominator will change. The question is, what is the probability of drawing a diamond and a heart? The first time, we have 52 cards in the deck, and there are 13 diamonds. So the probability of pulling a diamond is 13 out of 52. But we are not replacing the first card, whatever it might be. Because we're not replacing, then we no longer have 52 cards in the deck. We only have 51. So that's the denominator of the second fraction. Looking at the hearts, there are still 13 possible hearts in a deck of cards. So the probability for the second draw is 13 out of 51. Now we need to multiply these together. 13 times 13 is 169, and 52 times 51 is 2,652. So the probability of this compound event is 169 over 2652. Pay close attention to what's happening with the denominator, and then make sure you multiply both probabilities together. Try these on your own. Make sure you know whether or not you're replacing the first event before you find the probability of the second. Pause the video, come back when you're ready to check your work. Let's see how you did. I've written the steps and answers so that we can talk about the details. Here we have a pair of dice. They're both being rolled at the same time, so the denominator will be the same in each case. What is the probability of landing on 3 and 5? There's 1 3 on a pair of dice, so the probability is 1 out of 6. The same probability is true for the second pair of dice. Multiply them together to know the probability of the compound event. The second example includes a bag containing marbles, and once you take one out, it is not replaced. So once you've taken it out, it is no longer in the bag. That's what changes the denominator. We want to know the probability that both marbles will be white. Well, first we have 5 marbles in the bag, so that's the first denominator, and 3 white marbles, so 3 out of 5. Once you draw a marble and you don't put it back, there are only 4 left. That's the second denominator. And if there are 3 white and we assume the first draw pulled a white marble, then there are only 2 left. So that changes the numerator. And now you're just multiplying a fraction. I went ahead and multiplied without simplifying to make sure you can see the steps. Multiplying will give you an answer of 6 over 20. But all fractions need to be written in their simplest form for the final answer. So make sure you include that step. Compound events involve the probability of 2 separate things happening together. In order to find that, you need to multiply the probabilities. The important thing to know is whether or not you're replacing or not replacing, because that changes your denominator. If something happens and does not change the total number, then the denominator stays the same. If something happens that does affect the total number of possible outcomes, then reduce the denominator by 1. That small difference will make a big difference in your final answer. Send your questions or comments through the Contact Us page on the website. Good luck.